After doing Adams to Hood in 2015, I was looking for something new, something epic. Climbing Oregon's 5 highest peaks over 10,000 feet sounded like that could be my thing. So I started the planning and the preparation and the training, and that took almost a year. I knew I needed a 4-day window for this adventure, and on August 15th the weather looked great for the rest of the week, so I decided to give it a go. On Wednesday after work, August 17, 2016, we drove to the South Sister trailhead at the Devil's Lake, just outside of Bend. We set up camp, and at 3 a.m. the next morning, the adventure started. The route was pretty straightforward. Climb South Sister first, head over to Middle Sister, then North Sister, then run to Mount Jefferson, climb Mount Jefferson, then run to Timberline, and finally climb Mount Hood. The total distance was about 150 miles with about 50,000 feet of elevation gain. Heading up South Sister was pretty straightforward. I was on the summit earlier than anticipated, but heading down on the north side was a very different story. The descent is super sketchy and you really want to know what you're doing. Next I headed up to Middle Sister. That was also pretty straightforward, even though there is no trail.
Beautiful views, just amazing. No clouds, gorgeous weather. Mount Washington, Three-Fingered Jack, Jefferson, Mount Hood. I know where I'm going. Next destination, North Sister.
North Sister was very difficult and ugly. I was really glad I had a helmet, crampons, and an ice axe. There was still some snow on the traverse. The bowling alley was very sketchy and there was stuff coming down. There's just nothing solid on that side. So I quickly moved over and traversed, and I didn't actually scramble up the last 50 or so feet to the summit because it was too exposed and I didn't have any protection. After traversing over just below the summit, I descended on the north side and eventually connected to the PCT. The very first support location was the Lava Lake trailhead. I relaxed for a bit and then continued on to Santiam Pass. It turned out that there wasn't any water on that stretch, so I ran out rather quickly and suffered quite a bit. At Santiam Pass, I got ready for the night.
Just left Santiam Pass. Now it's going to be a 30-mile stretch through the night to Jefferson Park. I'm not really looking forward to that.
The night was just a nightmare. I really suffered, and it just never wanted to end. But in the early morning hours, I finally made it to Jefferson Park, where Rosina was camping. She had hiked in during the night. For the first time I slept a bit, ate something, and then started the climb up to Mount Jefferson. I took the Whitewater Glacier route and was on the Red Saddle in 3 hours. By then the temperatures were very toasty and the snow on the traverse was very soft. Without any protection, it was clearly unsafe to traverse over, so I didn't actually scramble up the summit pinnacle. I headed down quickly to Jefferson Park, where I started my 11-mile run to Olallie Lake. In the meantime, Orsina had to hike out to the Whitewater trailhead and drive to Olallie Lake. Ollali Lake, I slept for a couple of hours and then left again at 1 o'clock at night.
Slowly making my way to Timothy Lake. I just got bitten by a dog. Thankfully I had my compression sleeves. I don't think it did anything. I'm on the last 5 miles to Timberline. Should be there at around 6:30.
I finally made it to Timberline and felt pretty good actually, so I decided to head up Mud Hut right away. It was an amazing climb. Temperatures were nice, the weather was gorgeous, and I could see Mount Jefferson and the Three Sisters in the background. I made it up to the Hawk's Back in just about 2 hours. But that's where the trouble and the disappointment started.
I'm up on the Hawk's Back. It's too dangerous to continue. There's a bunch of crevasses and rock fall. So I'll turn around here. It's about 10,300 feet. I don't want to die up here.
Once again, solo and without any protection, it was just too dangerous to go up the old chute and reach the summit, so I turned around quickly and headed back. I reached Timberline, the destination of my adventure, after 67 hours and 23 minutes. Orsina drove me home, and we were in bed by midnight. I slept pretty well, and by 6 o'clock the next morning, I was thinking about breakfast.